Because right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks a lot, Ken, and thank you for sticking around for the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Rich Walsh, I'll be joined by Chris Mueller in a matter of moments, and we're taking your phone calls tonight. There he is, 412-575-2600 is the number. And I guess, Chris, you know, the big topic is Steelers head coach, and they're wasting no time. The search is on. They have 3 interviews tomorrow, a couple set over for the weekend. They got 8 potential candidates right now, maybe more on the way. When you glance at this initial list of guys, is there anyone that really stands out? Chris Shula, maybe some of these guys that you say this is an absolute must hire. How about Jeff Hafley? He has Pittsburgh ties. What are you thinking about the list that they have so far?
Jeff Hafley's actually near the bottom of the list for me. I am probably being unfair here, but the way his defense crumbled in the second half against the Bears just does not sit right with me. His time as a head coach at Boston College, I think it's fair to call undistinguished. So he does not really get me pumped up as a candidate. I think Nate Scheelhaase, the pass game coordinator for the Rams, is interesting. We had a guest on today who covers the Rams, and we asked him, Pony and I did, about Shula and Scheelhaase. And he said, Shula's a good candidate, don't get me wrong. But he said, if your quest is to find the next Sean McVay or the closest thing to, his pick would be Scheelhaase. And said he was instrumental in kind of keeping the Rams' offense and their pass game a step ahead of the rest of the NFL. They've reinvented themselves, so I like that name. Ejiro Evero, the defensive coordinator for the Panthers, took a really bad unit and made them better over year over year, so I kind of track stuff like that without a bunch of household names. He's also connected to the McVay tree, so you figure if you hire a guy like that, he's going to have a bunch of offensive coordinator candidates that he could at least consider bringing along. So those couple of names definitely jump out. Flores is interesting. I mean, Brian Flores is a tough guy who rubs people the wrong way. We'll see how much he's necessarily maybe learned from his first head coaching stint and just from some of his time that's passed at other places now. So those are the couple names that really do intrigue me of the first wave that we have seen. Jesse Minter too, but I'll be honest, seeing that Clay Kubiak is going to get a shot too, I think is good, just because now that's another offensive coordinator. This was a defense-heavy list other than Scheelhaase, so it's good to see the Steelers trying to take branches from the McVay tree, and it's good to see them at least looking at a couple big offensive names out there.
All right, that leads me to our live poll question of the night from Penn West University. Would you rather see the Steelers hire an offensive or defensive-minded coach? And it seems like right now our audience is on the offensive side. I think that's for me, too. I know Rooney, I was at his press conference on Wednesday, and he said the leadership quality is the most important. I don't know who's the best leader of these groups. I don't really know too many of these guys. I obviously know Jeff Hafley a little because of his time here in Pittsburgh with Pitt. But some of the other guys, Flores as well, he seems like he could be a leader. But I think I'm with the audience that I want someone offensive-minded because that's where this league is trending, or already is. Not even trending. That's where they are.
Well, 4 of the last, it's split 4 and 4. 4 defensive head coaches, 4 offensive head coaches among the 8 teams left. But here's where I always kind of zero out on this question, since the league is still more about offense and you can just look to the rules being in favor of offense. Defenses have caught up because defensive coordinators are good and defensive players are talented, Rich. But let's just say, for argument's sake, let's just use Shula and Scheelhaase, guys on the same coaching staff right now, as the barometer. Let's, for argument's sake, say that you think Shula is a 10 out of 10 as a candidate after you interview him, but you think Scheelhaase is a 9.5 out of 10, right? So very, very close. Wouldn't you rather have the guy that you're not going to have to replace every 3 or 4 years if he's doing a good job because he's your head coach? You know what I mean? Like, if you have Shula and then maybe he brings Scheelhaase with him, if Scheelhaase does a great job, well, guess what? He's probably going elsewhere as a head coaching candidate.
But isn't that a good thing, though? You want the guy to do a good job, so that means you're in a good position, right?
It is, but I would rather have the offensive coach because it's also a quarterback league, and if I think that the offensive and defensive candidate for the job are very close to equivalent, I would take the offensive coach, all things being equal, because then you pair him with a quarterback, you don't have to keep replacing him every couple of years and learn a new system. It's his system. It's the exact reason why, like, Sean McVay, to me, outside of Andy Reid, is probably the best coach in the league, and why they've had such continuity, because He's a good leader, a great leader, and he's an offensive mind. So, yeah, he can have all these guys come up through his system, but he's still staying in place, and you don't have to constantly have that churn to deal with.
All right, so let me ask you this. You had the LA guy on your show today. What about this idea out there? If you hire Shula, can you get Shieldhouse with him to be his offensive coordinator? Because he might not get a head coaching job this cycle. So could you lure him like that?
Yes, but you could, and I think that's what they would try to do. Is if they hired Shula, they'd say, "Hey, can you bring Shieldhouse? That would be a promotion for him. He goes from pass game coordinator to offensive coordinator. Come on."
Yeah.
And maybe they'd try to make that work, but like the guy from LA that we had said, hey, you might want to, in a perfect world, hire Shieldhouse 2 years from now, let's say, after 2 more seasons, and that's when he'd be perfectly seasoned and ready to go as a head coach. But he also said if you wait 2 more seasons, you don't have access to him, and you want to be a couple years early and let the guy grow into the job if you think he's really the right candidate. He's number 1 on my list, and
okay.
I think I might be the only person who has him at number 1 right now, but among people that are not Matt LaFleur, where you'd have to execute this blockbuster coach trade, I think Shieldhouse would be my pick.
I don't know much about him, but I like how can you not like the Rams offense? But most people don't know that don't really watch them. They're kind of a run-first offense, but they have a great quarterback too.
Well, they're the best running team of this century, this year's Rams team, by like a lot of efficiency metrics. They are the best team running the football that we've had in 25 years in the league. He's running the pass game side of it, to be fair. But their passing game has now started to utilize 2 tight ends and 3 tight ends, and it's inventive. And they have really good players, and Stafford's a future Hall of Famer and all that, and I think that's relevant. But ask anybody apparently affiliated with that team, and what they'll tell you is Nate Shieldhouse is a big reason, and by the way, has good coaching chops going back to when he was at Iowa State. But he's a big reason that they have freshened that passing game up even in these last couple of years, and again managed to stay sort of ahead of the game. I want an innovator here.
Yeah.
I think the biggest complaint that I and many others had was so much of what the Steelers did philosophically seemed stale, whether that was personnel, scheme, or a combination of the two. I want somebody that's going to break the door down and say, here are some new things, new concepts. Here are some things nobody else is doing that we want to try to do, and have that happen here instead of elsewhere. I'm jealous of the rest of the league it's always somebody else's team that's doing something novel.
This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. North Hills School District here. Congratulations to Eric Kasparovich. He's the new head coach today. It was officially announced. He'll be taking over at his alma mater. He graduated from North Hills, obviously had success at Pine Richland and then at Mars. So congratulations to Eric. Chris, I want to read you this tweet here that I just got from Ryan. He said, in hindsight, do you think the Steelers should have traded Mike Tomlin to the Bears after last season when they were offering a number 1 pick for him? I don't know how true that is or how engaged the Steelers were. I don't think the Steelers ever really entertained that. And I don't even know if the Bears were definitely going to offer a number 1 pick. But yeah, in hindsight, it looks like that would have been a good move.
If that deal was actually there, if the Bears really were going to offer a first, probably even a second, I'll be honest, for Mike Tomlin, I would have driven Mike. It would have been a very contentious car ride, but I would have driven him to the airport. He'd have been like, I really hate your show. You guys talk too much crap on me, etc. And I'd have been like, happy trails, good luck. Chicago's a great city. And then I would have immediately called the Detroit Lions and said, hello, we'd like to interview Ben Johnson for our head coaching vacancy here in Pittsburgh. And Ben Johnson, look what he's doing to the Bears right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably not going to beat the Rams this weekend, but they could. And he has completely turned that team and Caleb Williams' early career trajectory around. So, yes, if that deal was actually even remotely on the table, I would have been trying to complete it with the Bears.
Don't you feel like the Steelers were a year too late almost when you see some of the coaches that were hired last year and you talked about offensive innovators kind of guys?
I mean, maybe. It's a defensive coach-heavy, candidate-heavy situation right now. I think that much is pretty obvious when you just look at the overall breakdown of available coaches. Not just the guys the Steelers are interviewing. I mean, most teams are interviewing most of these guys. I don't want the Steelers interviewing Matt Nagy, who's an offensive coach who I think stinks and is not head coaching material and is going to fail if he gets another job. It all depends, if they waited a year too long on who they hire and how that person does, Rich. But think about what you said there, just broadly speaking. I mean, this is an action that was taken by Mike Tomlin. Art Rooney said explicitly that he was happy to have Mike on for one more year, for one more run at it at least. And so it's just that they have been dragging their feet and stagnating while the rest of the league really passed them by for several years. You can make an argument, I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, I'm sure people want to call and talk about this, that after 2020, when they lost with a thud to the Browns, you don't always get the happy ending in sports. The best course of action might have been Ben rides off into the sunset and Tomlin goes with him, and you just tear it down and start a completely new sort of course of action from that point, and they didn't do it. They missed a window right there where they might have had a chance to do something, and now this is where they're at.
But Rooney said he doesn't want to give up a year of his life. He wants to contend or try to contend every year.
I did not like that at all. If I'm a Steelers fan and I am excited because there's a newness about this, and it's the old box of mystery theory, I always call it. Like, if somebody offers you, here's the prize you can see or the box of mystery, everyone wants to know what's in the box, right? That's a new coaching search. But when Art Rooney says, like, hey, oh, no, we're going to try to keep this thing as intact as possible, I am quietly hoping he was, for once, just lying through his teeth about what his actual intentions are. Because if he's really taking that nearsighted a view of this process, then I do not like whatever situation the new head coach is going to walk into.
All right, let's go out to the phone lines. We got Marcello. What's up? Marcelo.
So I think the Steelers, it will be hard for them to get a quarterback, but if they can get something from the draft, that'll be cool.
It would be great. I don't think they're going to get a quarterback. Well, there's no quarterback really available, and it doesn't seem like the draft is quarterback heavy. It might be another year. It might be another bridge year with the quarterback. I think that would be likely. Let's go out to Joe in Hampton.
The only guy you'd take you take a flyer on, maybe like, okay, if Garrett Nussmeier,
maybe
who I think is
third,
undersized,
fourth round
and
if
he was
he's still
banged
there.
Up. Yeah, I think third round's the sweet spot for a guy like that. But if you want to make it a true bridge year, don't you just see if Mason Rudolph wants to stick around and don't jettison him or give Will Howard a shot, since that would kill two birds with one stone in the case of Howard for all the people clamoring for him.
I agree with that.
In 2027, you've got this stacked draft class now where Dante Moore is going to be a part of it because he went back to school and all that, and Arch Manning, Lenoris Sellers. There's going to be big names. There's going to be somebody who emerges that we're not talking about yet. So I think that's how I would do it. And also, it's funny. Remember all there's like a truism, Rich, where, oh, well, you've got to have Tomlin in place for the draft. They're going to draft a quarterback in Pittsburgh. And now sort of the excitement that people thought would be generated by picking a quarterback is going to be replaced by, I think, among the fan base, the excitement of just the newness of a new head coach. Like, hey, wow, you're having the draft here, and it's a new guy running the show. Like, I think that's going to be the stand-in for what everyone thought was going to be a quarterback pick.
Yeah, and I honestly don't really want anything to do with Malik Willis.
Why?
I don't know.
If they actually did swing a blockbuster for Matt LaFleur, why would you not want to bring Willis with him?
Oh, if you're going to do that, then maybe. I get what you're
Matt LaFleur,
saying.
then I think you try. If you trade for Matt LaFleur and then Willis is obviously a free agent, I think you try to think hard about making that deal. Forget about like getting a new quarterback. The development process with Willis was looking like it was going very well in Green Bay. He looked like a completely different football player. And the athletic ability and everything else, the arm talent that I saw, the poise that I saw.
Tomlin loved him. Remember that.
In that very narrow window, though, if you somehow pull a blockbuster for Matt LaFleur to be the next head coach here, then I want Malik Willis. Otherwise, it's bridge year and then figure out your quarterback, and then probably year 3 of a new head coach is when you're starting to think about, okay, let's see if we can get this plane in the air.
Joe out in Hampton, how you doing, Joe?
Howdy, this thing on?
Yeah, you're on.
All righty, dighty. I mainly just wanted to talk about, Tomlin's retirement. And I am pissed for 2 main reasons. First of all, I sell T-shirts, and this is not a plug or anything. I'll get to the other one. And I had an awesome T-shirt, right? And it was Wheel of Fortune style, and it said "Fire Mike Tomlin. Can I buy a vowel?" It had the eyes crossed out. Now I can't sell that anymore. I never thought he'd actually be gone. I thought he was immortal. But no, he's still here.
I don't even know. I'm going to cut you off here, Joe, because I don't even know where this is going, and I don't even know what kind of call this is. But he didn't retire. He resigned, and I'm sure he's going to be coaching at some point. Harry out in Westview. How you doing, Harry?
Hey, good evening, guys. Hey, don't you think, hey, Malsey, here's a little Seinfeld reference. Don't you think we all want the opposite of what we had before? Except for, like, maybe Tomlin. Like, I would like to have a guy that can talk to the press like Tomlin did, but maybe a little nicer.
Do you really? I'm part of the press. I don't know.
Wait, is this, Harry,
I don't know
to be
about
clear
that.
here. Harry, is this like one of those deals where you're asking for Art Rooney to pull a Costanza, and whoever he thinks he should hire, he should do the opposite?
No. But I'm thinking.
Or are you
maybe,
saying? Okay.
Maybe like Tomlin,
I got the reference.
Don't have it real coaches, real assistant
I got
coaches.
Yes.
If you have an offensive head coach, maybe have a defensive specialist.
Okay,
coach.
no, I got you now.
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks, Harry.
I thought one of the encouraging things, Rich, that Art Rooney said was when he was asked about the current coaching staff left over, he basically said, yeah, those guys can all do whatever they want and try to find new jobs, and Arthur Smith's still getting head coaching interviews.
Yeah.
And essentially they're going to allow this staff to go find what they want to do. And then Art got asked in as many words as you could ask it. I think it was Chris Adamski, and I actually give him credit. I thought he asked it in a good way, and Art gave a good answer. Just point blank saying, like, how much of a priority the coaching staff is for the new hire. And Art made it seem like that is a big part of their interview process is who are you going to bring with you, or who do you intend to put on your coaching staff. And it's so different from Tomlin getting hired because there were established big-name coordinators already in place. And it also tells me that Art Rooney is much more open than I maybe would have previously given him credit for being to the idea that you have to put a good staff in place, and you basically can't have what Tomlin did, which is a bunch of older guys or guys who were undistinguished in the league that he liked being around that had no career prospects or upward mobility.
Chris, we don't have a lot of time left, but one guy I would try to keep around is Danny Smith. How about you?
I'd be fine with that. I mean, he's more cult hero around here now than anything, but he's a solid special teams coach. I think Jaylen Warren kind of made it clear he would like to keep Eddie Faulkner around. That was in response to a Mark Caballi tweet suggesting they needed to keep Zach Azzani around as well as Danny Smith. No, like maybe Danny Smith, but guess what? Let the new coach pick a staff. Break with the past, Pittsburgh.
All right, we're out of time. It seems like the viewers agree with us, an offensive guy. Hopefully see you on KDK News right now.